Hey, what's up? It's your boy Jones. You are looking at a Mile High Minute. You heard?
Man, Mile High Minute, #1 blog in the universe. Man, we here. We with the New York legend himself, man, Jim Jones.
Yeah.
What's the word, man? What brings you out to Denver?
Little business running around, coming to do Sweet Feet, giving back to the kids some fresh sneakers. Every kid deserves some fly sneakers.
Yeah. I was watching one of your interviews last night, and one thing that stuck out to me was, you know, your love for hip hop and rap, even before you started rapping, with the directing, management, stuff like that. I feel like that's a lot different. Nowadays, you hear rappers talking about, you know, oh, I'm not a rapper, this, that, and the third. Like, what makes you so passionate about hip hop, and like, especially like growing up when you first started?
Shit, hip hop is pretty much all the music I knew besides all the other music that was going on in the early 80s. But
yeah,
when hip hop hit, there was no question in my mind. Or when I first got my first taste of hip hop, that's where I wanted to be.
No, that's real. What was the energy like when Dipset started? How tough was it to get the group off the ground? Did you feel like you already just had it?
When you win it, it doesn't feel as tough as it really is, but it definitely took a lot of hard work. But the hard work was well worth it. It didn't feel like hard work when you're chasing your dreams and doing shit that you love.
Right.
And that was the difference. But yeah, it definitely was a lot of obstacles and a lot of adversity that we had to get over and overcome.
No, that's real. Now, when We Fly High hit the billboards, you know, it was one of the hottest singles across the nation. What was that feeling like how that song came together, and how was that whole moment for you?
Oh, that was a great feeling, man. Like I like to say, Michael Jackson hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ballin' was a dope time. Great era. All our music comes about organically. It's nothing that's contrived, like something I set out to actually do. Just happened to be in the studio, and Ballin' was actually a record that started with the Franchise Boys, and then I ended up taking that record and doing it over and making Ballin'. So.
What was the creative process behind like making a hit like that? Because you know that was different than, you know, just like a regular song you throw on the tape.
I mean, I don't really think it was no creative process. That was like the last record I was doing at the time before I had to hand in my album for the deadline. So my back was against the wall actually when I was doing that record. So.
Yeah. What do you feel like Dipset brought to like the mixtape culture? Because you know y'all had one of the first big mixtapes.
I believe we birthed a new style of mixtape that was started to come from Dipset. We were putting whole street albums and making them into mixtapes that we were actually selling by hand out of the back of trunks and on corners with the CDs and mixtapes. So we put a whole new twist on it.
What do you feel like are the biggest differences between the rap game when you first started and now?
Streaming. That's the biggest difference. How you doing, my brother? The biggest difference is the streaming. There was no streaming when we were around. There was an internet, but we wasn't using the internet like we were supposed to. There was no social media. There was none of these things that these kids have the advantage to use, which is a great thing. Because you'll have access to the game. We didn't have access like you'll have access. It was hard to get access to this game.
Right.
Now you got it at your fingertips over the phone. Anybody can become a rapper and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Right. Now you grew up in like a tough era in New York. I saw another one of your interviews. You know, you were taking the bus, like 9 years old by yourself.
Yeah, the train.
Going through those rough times, like, how do you keep such a like positive mentality, positive attitude, and be willing to show love to communities?
They're not rough times. When you're in the community, when you're part of the community, you don't see or feel what other people feel.
Yeah.
It's everyday life. You wake up and you start your day and you go outside and do what you do. You did like the fear of anything happening wasn't on our mind. This was the environment that we was raised in. We're products of our environment.
No, that's real. How do you feel about the current state of the New York rap scene?
It's dope. I love what the youngsters are doing. That drill music has helped put us back in a great position inside of the music industry. I would say New York was kind of in last place for a few years, and now we slowly but surely climbing back. It's the 50th year of hip hop, and it feels good to be a New York artist again.
Okay, one last question. What kind of, if there's one piece of advice you could give like any artist trying to come up, especially out of a city like Denver, what kind of advice would that be? Just one piece.
When you can't stay motivated, stay consistent.
Nah, that's real. All right, man. Can I get a shout out for Mile High Minute one time?
What is it?
Mile High Minute.
Mile High Minute?
Yeah.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy Jones. You are looking at a Mile High Minute. You heard?
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man.